Peace be with you, Algebra 2 students. How are you? Seems like it's been a long time since I've made one of these. I trust I'll remember how to do it. God, you help us that this will be helpful to all of us here. In Jesus' name. To solve equations, rational equations where we have a ratio like this or a fraction like this, what do? Well, you find the LCD. And you say, what would be the LCD of that? Well, LCD is going to be an expression which each of the denominators here can divide into. X can go into it, 1 can go into it, and X can go into it. And I trust you know by now the LCD here will be X or just 1X. Okay? So we're going to take that LCD. We're going to multiply the left side by the LCD and the right side by the LCD as follows. So the X, the LCD will multiply the left side of the equation like this. And also we'll use that LCD X and multiply the right side of the equation like that. So when we do the distributive property here, we get X squared. And then here we would get minus X times 6 over X. By now I trust you know that this X would cancel with this one. On the right side would be X times 1, which would be X. Let's take it up here to get a little bit more space. So we have X squared minus, here we're going to have a 6X. On the right side is an X. When you see X squared like that in an equation, what do you think about? I trust by now you think, oh, we should take everything to one side, preferably to the side where the X squared is. So we're going to take this X away from the right side. If I do it on the right, I'm going to have to do it on the left. And so now I end up with X squared, what I had before, minus the X, I'm subtracting. And then minus 6X. That's going to be equal to 0. Yes. So now I put the like terms together. I got X squared, negative X minus 6X is negative 7X equals 0. When you look at these two terms, they should ring a bell in terms of what do we do with them? We're going to do factoring. Factoring where we can say what can we take out of X squared and 7X. And here it is, we can take out an X and we'll be left with X minus 7 equals 0. And we look for the X values that would make either this 0 or this 0, because anything times 0 is 0. So if X is 0, we'd have 0 times, or if X is 7, we'd have this coming out to be 0. So the two answers here would be X equals 0, or X equals 7. Those would be the answers. How about this one? Notice here that the denominators are the same. So the LCD in this one is just going to be X minus 3, because X minus 3 can go into itself. X minus 3 can go into X minus 3. Okay? So what's going to happen with this one is kind of nice. When we multiply both sides by the LCD, which I'm going to do now, the left side, which is 2X over X minus 3, notice what happened. This cancels out completely. Equals, multiply the right side by the LCD, 2X plus 3 over X minus 3. Hope you can see this from a mile away. That cancels out. So we're left with 2X equals, sorry, not 2X, this should be 3X. 3X equals 2X plus 3. And if you look carefully, you see it's just the numerator here and the numerator here. So what does that tell us? When the denominators are the same, we can just set the numerator of the left side equal to the numerator of the right side and work that out. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. We're going to subtract 2x from both sides. When we do, we get x equals 3. Okay, so again, when the denominators are the same, it's kind of like if we have 2/3 plus 1/3. Since the denominator is 3 here and 3 here, then we just concern ourselves with the numerator. 2 plus 3, 2 plus 1 would be 3 over 3. Okay? How about these when we're adding or subtracting? Take a look. Denominators are different. Almost the same though. X plus 5 here, x minus 5. When they're different, the LCD is going to be at times just the product or the multiplication of both. So for this one, the LCD would be x plus 5 times x minus 5. I can get it here. X minus 5. That's the LCD. So we can put it right here underneath x plus 5 times x minus 5 is the LCD. And what do we do with this? Well, here's what we do. We say x plus 5 times what will give me the LCD? It has to be times x minus 5. X minus 5. So we take this and multiply by x minus 5. And then we say x minus 5 times what will give me this? It has to be x plus 5. So x plus 5 times this, so it would be x. Alright, so we take this and we go x times x minus 5. There's a minus between them, I think, and it should be 5 times x plus 5. So when we work this out by the distributive property, we get x squared minus 5x. This here would be minus 5x. Then 5 times this would be, so negative 5 times a positive 5 would be a negative 25. And that's all over the given LCD. X plus 5 times x minus 5. So we put like terms together, negative 5x, negative 5x. It's going to give me a negative 10x. So we have x squared minus 10x minus 25 over x plus 5 times x minus 5. Well, this seemed like it could factor, but not quite. If this were a plus, then we could factor it. We just have to leave this as is, because we don't have any complete binomials that we can cross out. Okay? And then take the last one. When we look at these, so we see the denominators are not the same. But for the first expression, we can express it like this. X squared minus 4 is x minus 2 times x plus 2. I'm sure you can see that. Plus 1 over x minus 2. So notice we have x minus 2 here, x minus 2 here. So what's the LCD? The LCD is going to be an expression which this can go into and which this also can go into. So what is that going to be? Any idea? It's going to be x minus 2 times x plus 2. the more complex of the two expressions, because x minus 2 times x plus 2 can go into itself, and x minus 2 can go into this. When you do, it'll cancel the x minus 2 and you'll be left with x plus 2. So here's a question now we're going to be asking as we use the LCD. What times this will give me this? Good question. Times 1. Times 1. And secondly, what times x minus 2 will give me x minus 2 times x plus 2? It's going to be times x plus 2. So the numerator's got to be times x plus 2. So we have 1 here times x plus 2. Over here, just x. So we have x plus x is going to be a 2x plus 2 over the LCD, which is x minus 2 times x plus 2. All right. So that will be it. 2x plus 2 over x minus 2x plus 2. I trust that will help some. I look forward to seeing you soon. We'll do a little bit of review tomorrow before your test. God bless you and strengthen you. And practice all the ones I've given you. Go back over them and rework them to make sure you know how to do them. And most importantly, remember that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So He's right there with you, and He can help you. And the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding.